Everybody, welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast that doesn't really talk about technology anymore. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by a pair of guys who always see bright lights in the sky. It is Dan Miller and Chloe Rabideau. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Sean. Yeah, if you look up there long enough, pretty soon, all you can see are bright lights everywhere.
Yeah, I mistakenly looked into the sun during the eclipse, and it just ruined it for me. It hasn't worked right since, so I didn't see much of anything.
Waited too long to get your glasses.
Yeah, man, and they're like, don't look at the sun. And I'm like, I look at the sun all the time. What's the big deal? And it turns out it's very bright.
Isn't that weird? Like, I mean, that's not a thing that's just happening to people all the time. So, like, collectively, as a species, we're all pretty good at not looking at the sun ever.
Well, because by the way, I did look at the sun during the eclipse because I thought it would be funny. So I did do it, and it did hurt my eyes a little bit. But the thing I realized is I do look at the sun. I don't stare at the sun. Like, there's a big difference there. Like, you can look at the sun and be fine. If you just stand there and continuously stare at it, yeah, it turns out not great.
Beaming those cosmic rays directly into your...
Well, it's basically LASIK, right? I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I assume that would just take care of it.
Didn't make it precise.
Yeah, it's free. What's up, gentlemen? What's going on? It's been a little bit. What's new in the Don't Panic world here?
I put it in my air conditioner today.
Let's go.
I also just realized, like, I don't even know if there's still music in the show before. Like, it used to be the format of the show as Sean would say, like, this is Don't Panic, episode, blah, blah, blah. And then there was some music. And then
it still does the music.
Cool. I used to know the music, but I think I haven't heard the music in a while. And I just realized as we were doing it, because every time I sing music in my head, like, before, but as Riverside is counting down, and I just realized that in my head the music has been replaced by Barracuda, the song Barracuda, and that's what. Yeah,
that's great.
That's our theme song.
Sure, why not? We've had the same one for a while. Maybe we're ready for a change. I like it.
Yeah. So that's what happened to me today.
It's this is an amusing fact, maybe for literally the three of us, but I got a notice from Spotify. They're like, you have to agree to our new terms of service before we keep distributing your podcast. I said, okay. So I never log into the back end, ever. So I did log in. It turns out there's some analytics in there, of our Spotify listenership. I won't get into the specifics. What interested me is in there, I've got Don't Panic, Game Nights, and Up for Debate, or have all been in there for a while. And Game Nights has between 50 to 100 times more listenership than either of the other two shows. It's not even in the same stratosphere.
I remain surprised by that because, Actually, I think we're much better at doing this show than we ever were at playing D&D on air, at least. Or even just straight up. Like, I don't think any of us are experienced D&D players.
I think there's just... So here, I can tell you, in the last calendar month, it was literally 100 times the number of plays. Now, I think, Dan, we got in there at the right time as Dungeons & Dragons podcast kind of exploded.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was almost like an SEO type thing where it's like we were just right place, right time, right topic. Mm-hmm. Whereas this show is about, whatever it's about. I will say that there is a feature on on Spotify podcast called Q&A where you can actually ask questions about the episodes. Apparently, anyone can do it. Oh, shoot. Am I going to be able to find this again? People actually did post on some of our episodes.
Oh.
But this is going to be buried. Anyway, one person said two people said, you guys don't know the rules and are doing it wrong, and shame on you. Which I thought was very funny. Because they were right, by the way.
Sure.
But
like I said,
We don't know how to play Dungeons and Dragons, really.
But they were just more like, oh man, I'm never gonna find it. But they were just more like, you're teaching kids the wrong way to play the game or something. Like, if you're listening to us to learn how to play,
hey, whoa! I don't think there's a wrong way to play Dungeons and Dragons. I think that's one of the things about Dungeons and Dragons.
Maybe that's the wrong way. That's where we erred.
What do you mean?
I thought that too.
Oh, that there is no
wrong
rules.
way. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's no wrong way.
I think you're right.
So we're popular.
Maybe that's a niche we could pursue, is like playing Dungeons and Dragons in such a way that it angers people.
Just being bad at it.
Hate watching. Hate listening. Yeah.
Look at these idiots. He's rolling a D10 when he should be rolling a D20. How are you going to critical with that?
but we act like we are doing it correctly, and we're the smartest. We're like so good at this. Like, we're basically professional level players here, guys.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, folks out there, if you haven't listened to Game Nights, go check it out. It's very popular, I'm told. Anyhow.
Wow. So the past couple episodes, we have been talking about traveling. I don't know, and I'm pretty sure that we basically finished that. Although it's been a while.
Yeah, we technically, listen. It depends on how far you want to take it. We technically got all the way through to landing the plane. You want to talk about baggage claim, customs, rent a car? Hey, listen, there's no end in sight, but we got through the bulk of it.
Yeah. Okay, great. So one addendum is that we have been exploring the options beyond pre-check for like there's global entry is the one that everyone knows about. And these are called like trusted traveler programs, I think is the umbrella term for all of them. But the options are very confusing. So my understanding is that anyone can get global entry, and global entry makes it, well, that's not true. Any U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident can get global entry and can make it easier for them to get into the U.S., although having never done it, I don't know exactly how much easier. Via airplanes only, I believe. Not cruise ships, not land crossings. Then if you go to Canada, there's this thing called Nexus card. And global entry includes pre-check, which I didn't realize. So if you want to, you can just get global entry and then you get pre-check. And in fact, it like replaces your trusted traveler number for pre-check. But then there's also the Nexus card, which is a thing that lets you like kind of drive through the border in Canada more like it's a toll and less like it's a border. You kind of just slow down and beep, and then either the gate opens to the further inspection area or it's straight through to Canada or vice versa. And then there's one for Mexico, and there's different ones for truck drivers and stuff. But here's the confusing thing. I think pre-check is like $80 or something like that. And lasts for 4 or 5 years. I forget which one. Global entry is $100, lasts for 4 or 5 years. However, it takes 6 to 12 months to get, and you have to do an in-person interview. Though when I did pre-check, you had to do an in-person interview anyways. But the Nexus card also supposedly includes both global entry and pre-check, but it's only $50. However, in order to get a Nexus card, you have to do 2 interviews, one with the Canadian Border Patrol and one with the U.S. Border Patrol. And you can either do it at 2 different airports within 1 week or at specific border crossings, but only some of them. And in either case, you have to make an appointment. And here's the other problem: is the Nexus card is 12 to 18 months to like even get your pre-approval, at which point you can begin to try scheduling the interview, which I understand can take 1 to 2 years to find an interview slot. Now, if you don't have a job and you don't mind traveling to the border potentially twice, if you're a unit of 2 people, then you might be able to do it faster. But if you want to find 2 slots on a weekend, it'll take years. But you'll save $50. And then you get to you feel like a VIP going to Canada. So anyways, this is a thing that we've been thinking about. I don't know, do either of you have global entry?
I had global entry when I was living in Texas and I was flying internationally a lot. I mainly got it just because it was a little bit more than pre-check. But it was nice to use the kiosk customs.
What is actually
Houston.
different when you come in?
So it's the difference between waiting in line to talk to the guy behind the glass or just using the automated kiosk. Where you just put your passport on it and then put your fingerprints on it and then they wave you through.
I see. So it's like every other country's normal process, except
yeah. Now the downside
here you have to pay
is
$100 for it and wait a year.
the issue is that's in the U.S. Now, if you
Right.
go to an international airport, you don't really get any benefits. There's like 1 or 2 airports you do. That's when you go to like a Clear or something where they're more on both sides, I believe.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that about Clear.
Because it's not government related, but it is, and so I could be getting this wrong, but it's just that they're more airport agnostic. The U.S. program is for U.S. airports, and select other airports. I used to have to wait in customs in Amsterdam all the time, so that was nice. But I didn't renew it because I don't travel internationally anymore. Didn't really do anything for you domestically.
Do either of you have Clear?
No,
Yes.
I know it's the new hot. Oh, so you do have Clear.
Yes. If you have an Amex card, they really try to strong arm you in the lounge to sign up for Clear because it is free. Now, if Amex ever changes their rules or I stop using the Amex card, then they'll start charging me $120 a year or whatever. I do not think, if you have pre-check, I do not think that it is worth it. Because did we talk about Clear at the 5 episodes ago when we were first arriving at the airport?
I don't know.
I don't. Well, who knows? Well, I'll talk about it again. So,
Oh, he's crashing. Crash.
Oh, did he? Oh,
That's
shouldn't have
Am I
used the
back?
native app.
No.
Oh, there you go. We hear you. Hello.
I heard him.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, my video is just not working anymore.
Clearly.
Ha ha ha. Very funny.
I didn't even do that.
Anyways, so here's the problem is if you have pre-check, at least at the Seattle airport, there is not always a Clear and pre-check lane. So sometimes you can't even use Clear. And if you don't use Clear, yeah, sure, you go through the line faster, but you have to still take all the crap out of your bags and take your shoes off. And that's the number one reason to have pre-check in my mind. It's not necessarily that the line is faster. But even when there is the pre-check line, then you still don't really get any benefits from Clear because there's a line. Now, if you don't have pre-check and you have Clear, Clear allows you to cut in front of the entire line, basically. So in that situation, it's extremely helpful. Now, one airport that this came in handy in is the United States' worst airport that I've ever been to, Newark Airport, where they don't have a pre-check line. So you go, you do like, there's a pre-check like lane where someone, no, that's not even true. You go in through the line with everybody else, and then when you hand them your boarding pass, the person who checks your ID hands you back a piece of paper with today's date written on it, and that is your pre-check thing, and you don't have to take your shoes off. But you have to take everything else out. In that situation, because there's only one line, Clear helped a lot because I got to skip the entire line, and there's no pre-check line anyways. I think this maybe also happened in Phoenix. So I don't think it's worth $120 a year, but maybe it is depending on the layout of the airport that you fly in and out of most.
Yeah, I can also tell you because I've been researching it. And the other upsides is it is available at international airports that may not accept TSA PreCheck. So on your way back, you can also skip the security line. The other thing is Clear is used at places that aren't airports as well. Stadiums, arenas, ballparks, other high security locations. So again, not for everybody, not available anywhere, but someday if they expand far enough, you could use it to get into multiple places more efficiently. But today, no, I agree with you. I think it's kind of silly. Now,
I Googled, does Clear work internationally? And then there's a website, Clear, clearme.com. How is Clear different than TSA PreCheck or Global Entry? Click on it, 404.
Oh, that's not great. Now, Dan, I don't know, in your research, did you know that the Department of Homeland Security has a quiz on their website that will tell you the best trusted traveler program for you?
No.
Would you like to take it? It's very quick.
Sure, let's do it.
Which country are you a citizen of?
USA.
Okay. Do you have a machine-readable passport?
Yes, I do.
Are you a commercial driver?
No.
Okay. Per year, how many international air trips do you take on average?
0.75, 1, I don't know.
You can do 1 to 3 or 4 plus.
1 to 3.
How many domestic trips do you take? 1, 0, 1, or 2 plus?
2 plus.
Now,
that's a weird breakdown. They give you more options for international travel than domestic.
It's very strange. Yearly trips to Canada, 0, 1, or 2 plus?
1.
Yearly trips to Mexico, 0, 1, or 2 plus?
0.
Okay, that's it. Those are all the questions. Your best match. Want to take a guess?
Global Entry.
Pre-check. Majority of your travel occurs domestically within the U.S. They say your 1 to 3 international trips. Suck it up.
Don't be a baby.
Yep.
Well, that's great. I think about getting pre-check every time I'm at the airport.
It's a good upsell. Is that what when you're waiting for your flight, you check out the Hudson News, you grab a coffee, you get your pre-check?
I would do it if you could just do it at the airport.
A lot of times you can, and I learned, by the way, they say really aggressively you need a reservation, but I've been there when people have just walked in and they've taken them. It depends on how busy they are, but you absolutely could just walk in and ask, and they might do it. Like, they can.
Right. Yeah,
so,
maybe
an option.
Try. Pre-check. Is it once you've had it, do you have to do another interview to renew it?
No,
but you do. They made me go in person to renew it, but I didn't have to do like an interview. I think they fingerprinted. They took my picture and then they might have fingerprinted me again. Like they've changed, but I didn't. They didn't do like an interview.
I just had to click around online and pay them $70.
You know what it is? You're right. It was because I was going from Global Entry to just pre-check. You're right. That's why I had to go in. I think you're right.
Well, maybe.
I think pre-check is definitely worth it.
I would agree. I just found out at Hartford, Connecticut, my primary airport, they used to have the pre-check right next to the regular security, and of course, nobody flies in and out of Hartford, so there really wasn't any line. And they said, good news, we're moving the pre-check away from the regular security line. I said, that's interesting. To the far end of the airport nobody ever goes to.
Yep. This happens in Seattle too. If you're there in the morning, the lanes in the middle are all non-pre-check, and the lane all the way at the end is the pre-check one.
Yeah, I have to walk into another zip code to get to pre-check. And the good news is there won't be anyone there. But one of those things where I'm like, well, come on. I get the VIP.
Once your pre-check, are you disallowed from taking the other line?
No, you can do the other line. Okay. But I don't think, Dan, maybe this is a question for you as a aggressive. Have you ever seen a regular line shorter than a pre-check line?
Yes. It happens all the time at Seattle.
Does it?
Yes, airport. Especially if you do the Seattle airport has the thing where you can reserve your spot in line in advance, and then there's one normal line which is only for people who've reserved their slots. So you get these like 15-minute slots. There have been many times where that line is faster than pre-check. Not by like a lot, but by like 5-10 minutes, sure.
Wow.
So yeah, it all depends. But in my mind, I have definitely seen me fly through pre-check in situations where the other line is super backed up. And if you're ever in a situation where you need that $70 would feel more than worth it.
Fair. Wow.
Oh, also, like, not having to take you. I don't know about you, Colby, but you probably leave a more minimalist life, frankly. But sometimes I'm going through this thing. It's like, okay, take all the electronics out, bigger than a phone. It's like, okay, the Kindle, the iPad, my work laptop, my personal laptop, the Nintendo Switch. You know,
brutal.
and I have to use like 3 because they don't let you like stack them on top of each other. They have to be laying flat in the bin. I have to use like 3 fucking bins plus another bin for my backpack plus a bin for my shoes and my coat. Like, not having to do that and just always leaving like the 2-bin life. Coat, at most coats, otherwise the bag goes into the thing. Especially some airports, you have to put your bag in the bin. Some airports, they don't want you to put the bag in the bin. That's another thing we didn't talk about, that you never know what's going to happen until you get up there, which it's going to be. But not having to do that is the real win for me. It just makes my life so much easier.
I so agree. If TSA pre-check was the same price and they said the advantage is you have to wait in the same line as everyone else, but you don't have to do the same security rules, I still think it would be worth it. I totally agree.
See, I have like strict electronics limitations when I'm traveling. There can be like a Kindle. I always have my Kindle. I always bring a computer, and I bring like there is one bonus electronic. Like sometimes that's my like remarkable tablet. Sometimes it's my other computer. But I would never ever bring more than 3 large electronic devices. I basically don't. I gave up on traveling with the Switch for this reason, because it was always over my quota. One time, the TSA agent teased me because I had to get another bin for my extra electronics, and
I see.
It's like, what? You're right. I shouldn't bring all these.
They really got to you.
Yeah.
Well, this is 100% true. You guys are going to just... So I picked my laptop bag on the last episode, actually. It's just like a little briefcase bag. It's not very big. When I traveled to Las Vegas for the big trade show, inside of it, I had 3 laptops and 3 iPads. Security absolutely stopped me and inspected the bag. It did not make it out of the X-ray machine, because when it went through the X-ray, it looked like a fucking solid block of metal. And they had to investigate, and it was like, what the hell are you? I said, I have to bring all these, believe it or not.
Wow.
It's literally for my job.
Yeah, and it weighed a ton. It was so heavy, and I yelled at the... Because it's one of those things where I don't want to ship them. I could have shipped them. And I'm like, it's so my luck. And I also didn't want to check them. I was checking my bag. So I said, what a sucker. So it was like engorged, my bag.
You're not supposed to check all those batteries.
Yes. No e-cigarettes, no rechargeable batteries, no medication if you need it. Yeah.
Anyways, that's all that's new with me.
Well, I have some totally unrelated to travel thoughts, but I do have a travel question. I actually posed this question to Matt
Okay.
On the last episode of Up for Debate on our Twitch live stream that we've been doing, playing Chrono Trigger. It's been fun.
Oh yeah.
And
have you improved the technical setup since the stream I tuned into?
Yes, asterisk. Yes, but it's still not great. So it's watchable, but there's still a shocking number of frames that are not making it from my computer all the way to yours. So still working on that. I actually may have a technology fix for it, physical technology fix for it that I can talk about in a little bit. Not tonight, but something to bring to the show. But I asked Matt if you were on a game show and you won a trip, and I'm going to call it a reasonable trip. It's not like a super luxury, $1 million trip. Let's say it's a reasonable game show level trip.
What's an example of one off the top of your head?
You and a guest to fly round trip from Los Angeles to the Virgin Islands for 5 nights at the hotel that's on the beach.
Oh, okay. So it's a sort of an all-inclusive
it's a package.
thing.
It's a package.
Yeah.
Estimated retail value $6,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where could they send you that you would hate it so much you would turn down the free trip? Think of you want, let's say, a 5-night trip, hotel, flights, and some meal credits on a game show, and you're going to say no thank you because they're sending you where?
I mean, I can think of a couple options. The one that springs to mind is, like Mobile, Alabama in the summer.
What's
Mobile,
wrong with
Alabama in the summer.
For all of our Mobile listeners,
Sorry.
I apologize.
The same would be true of Tallahassee, Florida in the summer.
I was gonna suggest Tallahassee.
Sorry, it's too hot. Some people like it, right? It's not for me. If you're sending me to a place that's too hot, and there are those places that are like the hottest places in the world, right? Like Panama, Indonesia in the summertime. I think you could also, depending on the accommodations, it's like, it's like a seaside hut. It's like, no thanks. If you're going to send me to a place where it could legitimately get to 120 degrees, there needs to be, I'm going to be staying inside all day.
Fair. Panama. Yeah, Tallahassee's a good one. 5
Calgary?
days too. 5 days is a long time.
Well, I think so I was thinking, I have watched some Price is Right recently. That's where I got this idea. And I think the worst, or maybe not, but the trip I would least like to take, I've seen them give away, is they gave away, it was 6 nights in Wyoming, but not the nice part of Wyoming. It wasn't like at the national park. It was literally like a cabin in the woods in Wyoming for 6 nights. And they pointed out in a rural area of Wyoming. I mean, the facility looked nice, but they're like, what would you do for 6 nights in Wyoming?
See, that doesn't sound so bad to me. Because when else would I go to Wyoming in a rural part of Wyoming? It's not that far, so unlike Indonesia, it wouldn't be like an 18-hour flight. So, and I could just read books for 5 days, and it's free, so who cares? It wouldn't be, to me, and I understand why to some people it'd be torture, but to me that would not be actively torturous. It would be at worst, just like staying at home and doing things I do anyways, except I'm in rural Wyoming.
You'd be down for it.
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't be excited about it, but
it's free.
I wouldn't turn it down. Yeah, it's free.
Wow. Wyoming. The place I never thought to go.
And I know that Colby also wouldn't turn down a 5-day trip to Antarctica. So that's
sure.
No, probably not. I mean,
but Colby, what if it was
I would seek out, but if it happened to me.
What if it's congratulations, Colby, you and a guest will fly round-trip coach from Los Angeles for a 5-night stay in Des Moines, Iowa. Are you like gonna? I guess it's a free trip to Des Moines, but
I went to Iowa for a wedding once as a child. It was pretty interesting. We went to the wedding was in Pella, Iowa, which is where they make the windows. There was a lot of corn.
The windows?
Yeah, Pella Windows. Pella is a well-known brand of windows, like for houses. And they're made there in Iowa.
Well, much to Hartford's chagrin, Des Moines, Iowa is apparently the insurance capital of America, according to
I thought Hartford was the insurance capital.
I know. Well, they've got to have they got to duke it out.
First, Hartford loses the Whalers, and now they lose insurance. It's terrible.
Next, you're going to tell me that Iowa's baseball team is also called the Yard Goats.
Hartford ain't got much left. I got to tell you. It's not looking good. I think they still have a science museum. That's it.
That's true. Did I tell you about my friend who used to work at the Science Museum in customer service, and the phones with the donations? Or no, they had like a sale, a Black Friday sale, but you had to call to like get the tickets attached to your account. But anyways, I'll tell you again. So it was one of the most horrifying, Sisyphean things I've ever heard. So there you have this phone, and it rings, and people want to get you to do something on their behalf. So you pick it up and you talk to them. While you are talking to them, because there's only one person who can answer the phone, whenever the phone isn't being answered, infinitely many voicemails can be left. Like infinite people could be leaving voicemails simultaneously. So by answering the phone, you are signing yourself up for n many more voicemails. And if you check voicemail, that also counts as using the phone, which then accumulates more voicemails. So wow. It was impossible for them to get through it all on Black Friday, and they just end up with thousands of voicemails that they then have to churn through. And if anyone calls while they're trying to churn through the voicemails, that adds another voicemail to the thing.
That's funny.
So don't work at the Science Center, but it's a cool place to go in Hartford.
Is there a way? How can you solve that problem? Maybe you could get a separate
website. Internet. I'm sorry. Give me like a text message. Easier.
Touché, Sean.
I'm not that smart, but
maybe some way to sell the Black Friday sale tickets and just attach them to your account with no human intervention. Yeah. Or if even this would be worse for the user but better for the person if you couldn't get through if you were like on hold while someone was checking the voicemail instead of being instantly kicked into the voicemail flow. I think that also would have helped. Or at least maybe some way to hang up on listening to the voicemail and transfer it to the person who just called. Because think about how long, this is the other thing, think about how long it takes to check a voicemail. Like, there's a lot of overhead. You can't just go straight into what the person's talking about. Like, you have 9,000 messages. First message, like that's 15 valuable seconds that you just wasted that someone could have called you during.
Well, and I would also say my work phone, I still have a desk phone at my office, believe it or not, that no one ever calls. But
like
when they do
iPad?
call it, it's got a handset, and you can pick it up and hold it, and slam it down when you're done.
Wow,
great. Old school. I have an extension, which is thrilling. But what's great is if you call and leave me a voicemail, it does get automatically transcribed, and the transcription and a WAV file is emailed to me.
Whoa!
So that also seems like a great solution where you could just funnel it all into emails.
That's a good idea.
People
now
love
I
emails.
want to leave Sean a voicemail.
I can give you my direct line, and you can call it and just say hi if you want. Honestly, it would be the most exciting. Because what happens, the great thing is we have reception. And so what happens is I'm in a meeting or I'm talking to somebody, and then my phone goes, beep, Sean. Sean, and I go, yes, Linda. Sean, I've got, and God bless it, they're very sweet people. They don't listen to the show. I don't mean to make fun of them, but I kind of have to. They never remember what the people tell them. Because what happens is they say, hi, who are you calling? Oh, I need to talk to the marketing guy. And they go, Sean, I think it's Ray, and he's from, I didn't really get it. Facebook maybe or something. Sure, Linda, put him through, and then it rings me through. It happens every time. It's very funny. And God bless it, they never get it right, but they try it.
That's funny.
Damn. Yeah, I've never had reception. I've never even worked at a place where anyone had reception, I don't think.
I was going to say, I don't know if I've ever worked at a company with a phone number before.
That's fair. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Well, I remember at Etsy in Germany, you had to have a phone number to register the company. And so it just was to the office phone, and people would just call it. So the people in the German office, like the phone would ring and someone would just walk up and pick it up, and it could be about anything.
Wow. I will say there is a wonderful power to sending somebody to voicemail by voice. Because you're used to doing it on your phone, but when Linda says, "Sean, it's Steve from the company I heard of who keeps bugging me," I say, "Linda, I'm in a meeting. Send him to voicemail." I feel so powerful. It's impressive. I say, "I don't want to talk to him." Okay.
Now, see that seems like something that will never be as satisfying if you're just using ChatGPT.
Unless ChatGPT speaks to the person on the phone, Sean doesn't want to talk to you right now.
Well, you could transition into tech news.
Yes.
The new GPT talkie thingy. It's a technical term.
Yes. Let me pull up the article here and dig into the details a little bit. But yes, our good friends. Oh, Dyson now has a mop.
Focus, Sean. Focus.
The Wash G1 is the company's first mop. It's a $700 mechanical mop that doesn't.
Did we suddenly get sponsored by Dyson? What's happening?
But it does take aim to take the hard work out of washing your floors. It's the top article on The Verge. They've really lost it. Cost $699. It's the company's first dedicated mopping device. The cordless, battery-powered mop is slated for release this fall. There's no robotics or app connectivity.
Then why the fuck does it need a battery?
The president of Dyson, by constantly pulsing clean water onto its two rolling microfiber mop heads while they work. Instead of the hard manual labor of pushing the mop back and forth, Dyson uses mechanical agitation with counter-rotating rollers to scrub up dried-on stains, meaning you should just need to guide it while it does the hard work. While there's a small pump and the brushes have motors to drive them, the lack of a big vacuum motor means there's no filter. This is incredible. Way too expensive. Anyway, what were we talking about? Chatbots. Sorry about that. Yes, Chat GPT 4.0, an iteration of the GPT-4 model that powers Chat GPT. It's not only much faster and its capabilities, the big thing is it is chat enabled. It has a voice mode. The app will act like a voice assistant, responding in real time and observing the world around you. The current mode is more limited, responding one prompt at a time, but it'll be expanded over time. There's been a bunch of rumors about Apple potentially working with Google or OpenAI or one of these companies on integrating it into the next version of iOS, which we should see at WWDC in June.
Given that they've announced it, I would be shocked if Apple's basically just using this. But crazier things have happened, like releasing your news processor on an iPad. But yeah, I haven't had time to watch the videos. Sean, it sounds like did you watch all the YouTube clips that were flying around with this today, or Colby?
No, I did not.
Me either.
I
Bad
did not either.
Tech podcasters.
We're off our game. We haven't been practicing.
I think the difference between what you can currently do in the app and what they demonstrated is that currently in the app you can like press actually, does it do it? Oh, maybe it does. Okay, never mind. You can just do it. It used to be in the app that you could press the microphone button and it would do the fancy, whisper voice transcription, and then it would put that into text, and then the LLM would take the text and then it would spit text back, and then it would take the text and use another model to turn that into some sort of natural voice. But you could only do it transactionally, like sending someone voice memos, via WhatsApp or whatever. But now it's like sort of an always on thing. So you put it in the always listening mode and you talk to it, and it's sort of more present is what I only watched 2 of these little, 90-second clips, but that was what I got out of it. And they did a cool demo where they had 2 of them talk to each other. But then I think the thing that was most impressive to me was that in order to get the 2 AIs to talk to each other, they had to do a complicated thing where they started the first one in the always listening mode, and then the guy's like, okay, hang on, like ignore everything for the next little bit, because then he needed to start up the other one and give it the instructions and tell it like, hey, you're going to be talking to another AI. It's just like you, and blah, 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 blah. And that actually worked. So that was what I was impressed by.
Wow. What did they talk about?
I didn't actually watch that far.
Oh. That's funny.
I'm trying to see if I can get it up and running.
I think I can get it up and running.
I have a paid account.
Are you talking about someone specific, or is that a general comment?
There you go. Hey, you're live on air on a podcast. Say hi.
Hey there. Thanks for having me on your podcast. How's everyone doing today?
Can it hear us? No.
No, but I guess I could. Here. Why don't I do this? Okay, now say something.
Greetings, computer.
Okay, I'm going to turn it back on. Say it again.
Greetings, computer.
As human. What's on your mind today?
My friend Colby just had a birthday, and I'm looking for a gift to buy him. Do you have any ideas?
Sure. What are some of Colby's interests or hobbies? That might help narrow down some gift ideas.
Colby likes computers. Colby likes nature. And Colby likes his friends.
That's true.
Got it. For a tech-savvy nature lover who values friendship, how about something like a portable solar charger for his gadgets, a high-quality outdoor hammock for relaxing in nature, or maybe a photo book filled with memories of fun times with friends?
Now, I have a card for Colby. Do you have any ideas for what I should write in it?
Of course. You could write something like this. Happy birthday, Colby. I hope your day is filled with the perfect blend of tech adventures, nature's beauty, and great times with friends. Cheers to another amazing year ahead. What do you think?
I love it. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Is there anything else you need help with for Colby's birthday?
No, please fuck off.
All right, take care.
Okay. Oh, that was great. Oh, that was neat. That was cool. It's kind of helpful. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this announcement because I did see it today, and it did make me realize something about AI, specifically why this is exactly what I don't want.
Okay.
So did you guys see this? I'll post a link in...
It has a transcript, by the way.
Oh, does it really?
So funny.
I'll post
There
that.
is, what is the name of this? Is this it? Yes, it's a company called Limitless.ai. And they focus on what I think is the quintessential use I have for AI, which is I don't want an AI that knows a lot about everything. I want an AI that specifically knows a lot about me.
Mm-hmm.
And what Limitless does is it is in all your meetings and reads your emails and that, but they also have announced a clip-on microphone called the Pendant. And it basically records everything that happens to you all day long, runs it through an AI model, and helps you remember things. And I'm like, that is kind of what I want. I don't need a generic assistant. I need my own assistant who has read and knows everything I do and can spit it back out to me in ways that are helpful.
Yeah, this was the company that used to be called Rewind.
Okay, you've talked about them. Yes.
Yeah. They did a little rebrand. It's a little controversial because now they don't appear to be maintaining the app that I used to use, where it watches your screen and you can search anything that your computer has ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a bummer, because for me, as a person who works remotely, that is way more useful than a pendant that I wear around. Like, I don't care what I said to I don't care to necessarily recall in detail what I said to the person at Trader Joe's. Or there's no need to summarize the dinner I had with friends. But I do see how it is sort of a compelling product, because it's, as someone who's worked at startups, there's the people talk a lot about distribution. Like, how are people going to get your thing? And are there any barriers to getting it? And this thing is it $99? Am I remembering that correctly?
That is correct.
It's $99 and it requires nothing else. So you don't need to sell it to some big enterprise, though I'm sure they would love to. Anyone who wants to could buy this thing. And I think and then I don't know how it works, but I think presumably there's some website you go to and it produces you can ask questions about it and produces the summaries and all that stuff. So that feels a lot better than the rabbits and I guess we skipped over that whole March and April of tech news with the humane and the rabbit things. But it's a lot more compelling than those, because those are super expensive and they're worse phones. This doesn't try to be anything to do a phone. You can't even interact with it at all. It is just a write-only device. So I could see it being successful, though I do think it has the same problem, which is at a certain point, will my phone have a super low powered chip that is optimized to do the Whisper model thing, and then it could just always be listening? I just put my phone on the desk, do the same thing.
I mean, that's what excites me about the iOS announcements that keep rumored to be coming about AI. Is what is the one thing in my life that has every piece of my information on it? It's my phone and or my computer. And so if Siri gets its creepy tentacles into everything I have on here and can produce that kind of information, I mean, they started it with those recommendations between apps and stuff. If it can really be powered by my information, I'm really excited about that, because I don't remember things. I have a million emails and I'm trying to remember something I Googled 3 weeks ago. And there's just so many things in my life that an AI that just knows, the thing we just did with Colby's birthday, it's cool, but it is not particularly useful. So that's, I'd like AI to be more useful, I guess is what I'm saying.
What was that? Was that the gong telling us that our show is over? I heard a...
Was there a gong?
Bong.
Oh, did I whack something?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
I think that was a different thing. I just hit my spring, but I'm pretty sure that was not the original noise.
We're professionals here. Oh my god. We never learn. Oh boy. Let's see. Anything else worth discussing, gentlemen?
There's new iPads.
There are new iPads. The M4 chip was announced. With those new iPads.
Yeah, we don't really know much about. The M4 chip is probably a little bit better, but we don't know how much better than the M3 yet. But maybe
what I read online, the rumor mill is that we will see MacBook Pros with the M4 in the fall, MacBook Airs with M4s in early 2025, and then later in 2025, iMacs will get them. So it might be a while before they get into some actual computing devices.
Yeah. I am, in theory, in the market for a new iPad because mine is 7 years old and the battery life is pretty terrible. But I'm just going to wait until I go to Australia again, I think is frankly the answer. Because it is long enough to last for a cross-country flight, even still. That's the crazy thing about the iPads, right? Like, if what you want to do is download TV shows from Netflix and watch them on a plane, which is what I use the iPad for, mostly because it takes up less space than a laptop. Plus, I don't think you can download TV shows onto a MacBook anyways, so that's the other stupid thing.
You can, depending on the streaming service. Some streaming services you can.
I thought a lot of those streaming services, there's no web, the website doesn't let you download TV shows, obviously.
No, you have to do it on
and
the
a lot of
Mac
the
app.
apps are restricted from running. They don't allow like the cross-platform thing. That was last I checked. Maybe that's changed.
Because I travel with I watch stuff on my laptop when I travel because I'm a lunatic.
What streaming service are you using?
Well, I've downloaded stuff with Apple TV, Amazon Prime. Their app lets you do it.
Okay, yeah, I see Amazon Prime and I see Apple TV.
And I want to say Paramount Plus worked for some period of time, if you're crazy enough to have Paramount Plus. So you can watch your Star Trek and your whatever else they put on there.
But yeah, otherwise, not that much to talk about. Someday I'll get a new iPad. It'll probably be one of these, but maybe not until next year. But then they probably won't have updated them anyways, so...
Fair enough. You'll just have to wait and see. By the way, I did just see this Chat GPT update. They now have a Mac OS app.
Ooh, I heard about this.
Yes, option space will open it up so you can ask it a question, and it can read your screen, and you can reference things that are happening on your screen. So, something to mention. Guys, I do want to mention as we head towards the end of the episode here, our good personal friends over at the Up for Debate podcast. I'm one of them, and Matt's the other. And we've really been trying with our new Twitch stream at twitch.tv/upfordebate.tv. You should definitely check it out. Follow us so when we go live, you can join us. We've had some people in the chat hanging out. We're playing Chrono Trigger slowly but surely. We're getting there. It's a lot of fun. And we're going to try, we'll see how far it goes, but we're going to try something that I think is kind of unique. No one's done it before. It's the streaming podcast, but in a way where audibly it's going to sound like a regular podcast. Visually, it's going to look like we're playing video games, but we're going to do them at the same time. And so next week, for example, is the first time the show isn't about Chrono Trigger. We're going to be doing our annual Books of Summer, where we talk about what books we want to read. While we're doing the episode, I will be playing Chrono Trigger on Twitch. So we're going to see how it goes. It's going to be fun. A little better each time. So I do recommend follow us on Twitch and, of course, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get yours. And, of course, this show is don'tpanic.io, our website. Check it out. Audio and video are there. We're looking crisp when Dan's app works. And, of course, you should follow us wherever your podcasts are, as well as on YouTube. And, of course, Up for Debate, or don'tpanicshow@gmail.com is the email address. Anything else, gentlemen? Great to have everybody back as we're cruising through May here.
No, this is good to be back.
An absolute treat. We appreciate it. On behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. a pleasure as always. Thanks for being here. We're going to see you next time for another great episode of Don't Panic. I'll put in Barracuda here. Ding, 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 ding.